So I could have explained the CPM into the other chapters that we are going to do. I'm going to do Loom videos, basically showing you the columns and what kind of metrics I look and explain it there. But it's such a big thing that I didn't want to leave it without its own chapter. So first of all, what is the CPM? CPM is the average cost of 1,000 impressions. In Meta, we do not charge people, not we, because Meta is not mine, apparently. I wish it was, because I would be a billionaire. In Meta, they don't charge with cost per click as they do in Google, but they do charge with impressions. So basically, every 1,000 impressions, you're going to be charged. So if you see 20 CPM over here, that means that you have been charged $20 for 1,000 impressions. It's your cost basically for 1,000 impressions. And now, is this good or bad and everything? We're going to try to interpret it and explain it in this video today, because it's more complex than that. And let me tell you that Meta is a platform that is being heavily a visual platform. That's why the CPM is being influenced a lot by the creatives, which is the visual part, and by targeting. Of course, the creatives are also targeting, because if you're just doing a creative that you're just folding an origami paper, basically you're targeting people with origami preferences because they're going to actually engage with this ad. And this is how the CPM is being calculated and stuff. Of course, there's a whole algorithm that's calculating the CPM based on different situations, but it's different from Google that you're paying for click. I know that it sounds a little bit more, fair to charge per click, but I think that we're missing the point here, that this platform is not scaling and this is scaling. The reason is because it's a visual platform with visual clients that they see things from here and there. They believe, and I also believe, because I have seen it with my own eyes, that Meta is taking part on this sales process or in this sales procedure from the clients, because without Meta and without seeing the ads, even if they don't click, maybe they wouldn't consider buying. Okay, so it's maybe also a subconscious thing of convincing people, or people being more familiarized with a brand, so that when they're going to click and go to the website, it doesn't look like it's something unknown. All of these things are important for people to buy. I'm not here to say that Google is bad. I'm just saying that if you think that this is not fair, you are wrong, because this one is a visual platform, and in this platform, people are looking for something, so it makes sense to charge you for the click. Let's explain a little bit the CPM and how we need to interpret it when we see it into different cases. First of all, I need you to understand that we should talk about an untrained pixel and a trained pixel in order to discuss about the CPM, and we should talk about the starting of a campaign and the campaign that has some data and it has started optimization, or it's optimized, or we optimized it, or whatever. So there are going to be some different cases that I'm going to explain. And first of all, we're going to start with when we have an untrained pixel and we're at the start of the campaign, and we start with high CPM, and we see that the CPM is actually decreasing. What does this mean? We need to understand that if we see high CPM initially, that means that our pixel is untrained. We already know that, okay? But if it's decreasing, that means that in this process over here, do you remember? We find from one person, we find another person, and then this person finds this, and then these two people, they find another person. So if this process here is cheaper, that means that we're doing well. That means that our untrained pixel is understanding who to target and it's finding more and more people. Of course, CPM is one thing, ROAS is another thing, okay? The CPM can be dropping and Facebook thinks that it's finding people, but if they don't convert, it's another thing. Maybe it's doing a mistake, and this is common into new pixels. So this is one case that we might have. Now, and this is how we can interpret it. Like, we will try to interpret it, maybe we are wrong, but still, this is how you will try to understand it. Again, this whole discussion has no point if the ROAS is bad, but still we need to interpret this in order to understand if we're doing good or bad. Let's say that we start low, and this one is increasing, okay? And we're at the starting of our campaign. If we start by the meaning low, I don't mean starting with 20 or 10, I mean starting with a lower number from where it goes. So it starts and it increases. So that's a bad thing. That means that our CPM, our process over here, is becoming more and more and more expensive as the time passes by, which means that our trained pixel untrained pixel and our creatives and our targeting is not doing good work in order to find more people to make this process cheap. If we have low CPM with an untrained pixel, this is maybe a bad thing because it means that we're getting lower quality traffic. Okay, we don't expect initially from an untrained pixel to have low CPM. We expect from trained pixels to have low CPM because they have data to justify that. But if we have high CPM, it's not necessarily bad because it means that on the untrained pixel we do have a higher CPM into untrained pixels, but the point is it going to get low? Is it going to get lower, or is it going to stay high? Now, let's talk a little bit about the case that we have the after optimization for an untrained pixel, and let me show you how the things are changing. So I'm talking about big changes here. Sometimes you might see on untrained pixels, for example, starting here with 100, working like this, and then after it has some events, this one to drop a lot, but then increase again. Okay, so we're in this case. So right now we have started, it went well, and now it's increasing. This is a bad sign for an untrained pixel in a campaign that has data to see your CPM increasing. Why? Because it means that this process is actually going wrong. But if we are now in the process that we are having a lot of data over here and we have a high CPM and this is decreasing, that means that at last the pixel is starting working and it's having better results. In a trained pixel, for example, which we will go in a little bit, having a CPM increase in a trained pixel after optimization, it's good because it means that it goes to higher quality traffic. Of course, not for smaller items, but for higher AOV items like my course, for example, if I'm starting seeing that after some point my CPM is increasing, again, if the ROAS is there and everything is there, we're trying to interpret here how the CPM is working, not to see if it's going to give us good results or bad results. We try to understand the behavior. If the ROAS is there, that means that for a high ticket item, for example, in trained pixel, when it's increasing, maybe it's a good thing because it's a quality thing. It means that it's more difficult for it, it's already trained, so we're not worrying about this process of not being able to find people. It just tries to find more quality people that they will pay for a high ticket item and so on. And then we have the situation that over here we have a low CPM after optimization. It's always good with an untrained pixel. If we have a high CPM after optimization, it's very bad for an untrained pixel because it's not a good sign. Now let's talk for a trained pixel. Let's say that we start high with a trained pixel and we're going to start seeing decrease over here. This is not necessarily good comparing to having an untrained pixel. In a trained pixel, we don't want to see that because we feel like at this point it's optimizing for a hot pocket of lower quality. A lot of times. In a trained pixel, what we want to see is kind of the same CPM across our campaigns. We don't want to see ups and downs and fluctuations because that's the whole point of a trained pixel, that we're having a trained pixel, which means more stability, okay? So seeing low and then increase, it's not necessarily a bad thing, as we said earlier, for a trained pixel on the starting or after optimization, because it means maybe on high AOV items that of course it's not going to happen drastically in smaller and smaller ticket items or daily routine price items. It's not going to happen, but in higher ticket items, in higher AOV with trained pixels, this is easily something and a scenario that it can happen, and it's not something that's going to worry us. What we're going to do is that we're going to try to find maybe other creatives that are going to give the same CPM without increasing it, trying to find more quality people. But still, if the ROAS is there, it's not a campaign that we're going to close or being worried about it. If we have low CPM with a trained pixel, it's more than normal. If we have high CPM with a trained pixel, maybe it's still fine because trained pixel means that it's having consistent sales. And maybe it's having high CPM, but maybe this is a CPM that it's operating on this specific niche. So as you can understand, it's a different way of seeing it on starting or after optimization or on trained pixel and trained pixel and how we see it with CPM. And we're going to go into my PC in a little bit, I would like to show you some things about some other accounts on how we see CPM there and how we interpret it. And before we do that, let's discuss a little bit about the CTR, because this is something that I hear also a lot. There are a lot of times people that they are discussing about CTR without discussing CPM. Okay, so if you have, for example, over here a CPM of 200 instead of 20, your CTR most likely is going to be really high. The reason that I think that this is happening is not because these are higher quality people. Now, if we take it from here, from this discussion, if your pixel is untrained and you're having a high CTR, that means it's because you're just targeting only 100 people with this CPM, and having a 5% CTR is very easy comparing to having a 5% when you target 1000 people with lower CPM. If we talk about a trained pixel now and we see a high CTR with a high CPM in a trained pixel, high CPM comparing to the campaigns, because we cannot compare CPMs between our accounts, they're completely different businesses. If we see a high CPM in another account with a trained pixel, then we can consider this quality. But we cannot consider this quality when we talk about an untrained pixel and we're actually having a CTR which is high. We have to consider it just a fluke of the people that it's having over here, and they just went through the cracks, you know, and they just clicked over here. And I'm going to prove this to you into my computer. Before we go, I would just like to make an example which I think is going to help you understand. We said that the CPM is being influenced by the targeting, but it's also being influenced by the creative. The creative can be your targeting. Think of this as a scenario. Let's say that we have a video which is talking to parents, okay? And basically for 2 or 3 minutes it's showing a video, and then over there you do understand that it's about schooling at home, but it's only for autistic children. Okay, so the parents that are watching the video for the first 1-2 minutes, they're going to stay there. The moment they're going to see that it's for an autistic child, maybe they're going to leave. And the parents that they have an autistic child, maybe they're going to stay for the duration of the video. That being said, I want you to understand that this is a very big mistake of the creative, that it's actually showing it to parents, and it's making this over here really difficult. Why? Because people engage, they come to this process, but they don't convert. They come to this process on the second, third minute, they stop because they don't understand that initially this is for autistic children. They don't have an autistic children, they are parents. You are targeting them, you don't have interest, by the way, for autistic children. They have been removed 2 years ago, along with other things like Jesus or LGBTQ interest and stuff. You don't have that, so people, you don't have a proper hook because it's your mistake. You don't say something at the beginning so that people can understand that this is for autistic children, okay? So the people are engaging for 2-3 minutes. The CPM is increasing. Why? Because people are coming engaging. Facebook thinks that these people engage, so it shows to more parents, but it doesn't understand that the people that they're actually interested are the people that they stay after the third minute or second minute, that they understand that it's for autistic children. So some people are going to slip through the cracks. We're going to have a high CTR because we are targeting more people with the CPM being increased. Some people are going to have autistic children, they will come here, but the people that we are going to target because of this stupid process over here that we're not targeting, that we're targeting parents in general without a proper hook to throw them away from the creative and let people with autistic children only to engage so that we can have a proper process. We have people coming inside here to this process. Facebook tries to find more and more people because the people that it tries to find and they engage, then they don't convert. It tries to find more with them, makes it more sophisticated. CPM is increasing. Some go through the cracks with the autistic children, as we explained, and then we go to the process over here that we have very high CPM, we targeted not a lot of people, and we have a high CPM. We have a high CTR. This is not a high CTR. It's a CTR which is inflated just because you have targeted less people with your crazy high expensive CPM. But if we talk about a trained pixel, the trained pixel is going to make this process anyway easier because it's going to understand that it has to target autistic children parents immediately to this process without caring about the targeting of an untrained pixel, without caring about having pixel data. Here it has pixel data, it can do it, and without caring about the hook and all of that, because the initial pool, it's going to be already proved from the trained pixels. So here we are going to have a CPM that no matter how high it is, it's going to be quality people. So the CTR that you can see into trained accounts, it's okay. You cannot go in an untrained account and watch a CTR over there, which is 5% because you have high CPM and be happy. But if you go in a trained pixel and you have CTR discussions, yes, you can see it. In these ad accounts, how am I going to see if my CTR is good? I'm going to see campaigns that they have similar CPM. So a campaign with 20, a campaign with 25, another campaign with 23. If I see in all of these campaigns my CTR, and my CTR in this campaign over here, it's 3%, while in the others it's only 1%, this campaign over here is having better creatives. And then I can say that my CTR, it's actually good in this campaign. Let's go into my PC to show you some visual examples with CPM and all of that. But I think that all of this summarizes it, and it's very difficult to explain it to all of this to people because there's so many different individual cases here and there. And even here on the trained pixels, let me tell you that the increase on the CPM, which you're not going to see such high increases or decreases as this one with an untrained pixel, even here, the increase of the CPM to higher quality, it happens only to high AOV products, for example. In lower AOV, you're going to see that you're going to have a stability to your CPM. Okay, so I'm going to start with problematic ad accounts, and I will move to actually more stable ones just to show you. So this is another account that I have showed you many times. You can see that we have an untrained pixel, we have very bad CPM over here, and it's not because of targeting, because I'm doing a lot of targeting here from 10% lookalikes, 1%, normal interest and everything. I can spot the mistake over here on the creatives. The creatives are ridiculously bad. So targeting is influencing CPM and creatives. Creatives means that the people cannot actually go and, not understand the creatives, but let's say that in this brand, while nobody knows them, they focus so much on the packaging for no reason. Nobody knows you yet, so you have to do videos to explain the product and stuff. Now, we have this crazy high CPMs over here, and we have one campaign that's having lower CPM. What does this mean? That we managed somehow to find a hot pocket that's going to convince people to buy. This doesn't mean necessarily that the problem, because this one is also high, that the problem of cost per unique click is lost. But here, look at the CTR. I'm not going to believe that I have a 9%. Not this one, this is a false campaign. Don't even watch the numbers of this one. But here, for example, I'm having 3.56 with a 200 CPM on a new pixel. This proves nothing that the creative is good, because you need to see also this. The cost per unique click is awful. So you're seeing good numbers here, or acceptable numbers, but these are not good numbers at the end of the day. And I will show you then in trained ad accounts how it is. So this one, if it starts high and then starts dropping, it means that it's trying and it's finding its way through and it's optimizing. If it starts with low and goes to high, then that means it doesn't go for quality. That means that the optimization process is worse because the pixel is still not there. Okay. Now, in untrained pixels, you're going to see this kind of things. You're going to see not 200. I hope that you're not going to have 200. This is an exception case. But you're going to see 100, 120 and stuff. Most of the time in these cases, you will try to do the targeting that you have to do and everything. And they have videos about how you work with new pixels, focusing on the CPM also. You will have to try to do it in a way that it's going to be you focusing on the CPM, but from the perspective of trying to make it better. Why? Because it's not a trained pixel. So making it lower, it means that you will get more traffic. It means that you will start getting better chances of actually having people converting and so on. So you will try different targetings, broad targeting, interest, lookalikes, whatever, until you find something that's working. But not only as a CPM, being better on CPM, because for example, advantage shopping campaign can be better. Sales campaign, as it's called now, it can be better in terms of CPM, but it doesn't mean that it's going to have sales. Sometimes you have to see both of the things, CPM and sales at the same time. What is the most cost-efficient way to train my pixel, as we said in other videos? So here, my most cost-efficient way is this one campaign that I managed to optimize, having 40 CPM, running crazy method. And actually I'm having in the last 30 days 32 sales, which is the biggest amount of sales that I got in a single campaign. And I'm keeping this so that I can train my pixel, trying to make it better. Of course, working on new creatives to have better creatives, but still I managed to do this, which is my part on Facebook ads, but this is where it ends. I can do nothing else on top of that if my cost per unique click and my creatives are bad, okay? This is what I want you to understand. So the CPM is important here. If we go in another ad account, so let's go here, for example, okay? We can see that the CPM is 21. This is a trained pixel, and we can see that in between the campaigns, we're not having a big fluctuation, okay? And follow the 21 number and let's see how the CPM has been doing. Here it has 25. The ROAS is dropping a little bit. Let's see how it goes. Oh, come on. 22. So this is the fluctuation that I was talking about into, trained and untrained pixels, 22 and stuff. So as you can see, it stays the same, okay? Let's see this one, for example. Let's come here. Here, it's another account which is having very good CPM for United States. As you can see here, let's check. We're having 5.86. Let's check this one, 5.84. So you can see that it's pretty stable. And this is 6 over here. Of course, the change is having a 6 CPM and 5.3 CPM, it's a little bit of normal change. It's like having from 20, 24, 25, okay? So what I'm trying to say is this, that in trained pixels, you're not going to see these crazy things like 200 CPM or 40 CPM or 30 CPM or 50 CPM, 100 CPM. It's going to be more stable because it's a trained pixel. What are we checking there? We're checking if the CPM is increasing, it means that more people are coming to the platform that they advertise, and that means that over there, when they advertise in the platform, they increase the CPM because we have more competition. This is how we see the CPM and we check it into trained ad accounts. And here you can see, for example, that we are having 2%, click rate 0.8, 0.86, 1.5. You have to understand that these numbers are very good. Comparing this one, for example, is not good, okay? But over here you see 1.25, 0.5, 0.36, 0.47. These are none of these is targeting, okay? 1.25, 1.27. These numbers for this CPM over here, that's why I'm saying that there's a correlation for a $5 CPM. They are very good numbers, okay? You don't need to have, and then you can just compare them with each other, okay? Because all of these are getting the same CPM, you can see that this campaign is obviously doing much better from this campaign, okay? And then you can compare and you can see the creatives, what they're doing. But you cannot just go from account to ad account and compare different CPMs. You need to compare in this campaign that they have similar CPMs in a trained pixel. You can compare the CTR. You cannot say, for example, that 0.82, 0.8 over here is a bad CTR because you have in your ad account 2 or 3 CTR and that your creatives are better. No, because we have to see also the CPM, we have to see the different business, and we have to see so many different things. But you can say here that this campaign is better than the other, comparing same CPM. You cannot, what do you think? That these creatives, for example, they're worse from this campaign over here that's having 1.63, 1.99, 3.56 unique CTR. This is when I'm getting pissed, when people come and say, I'm having 2% CTR on my ads. With a trained pixel or with an untrained? Are you having a high CPM or low CPM? And all of these kind of things. Are you comparing it with, do you hit 2% all the time with your campaigns and there's another campaign that's hitting 3, or is just only one campaign that's hitting 2%, which means that your creatives are very good in this one comparing to the others that are getting the same CPM? This is how you need to see it. This is how you need to interpret the CPM. And this is how you're going to work into new pixel ad accounts, trying to find the most cost efficient way, as we said, based on the CPM. This is how you're going to work into trained pixel ad accounts, by just seeing if the CPM over there is for you to see if you're having more expensive traffic because of the competition, more people coming advertising, because these are other accounts also that they're scaled. So you need to see if it's going to be more expensive for you, and maybe you have to, control a little bit the campaigns, lower the spend, try to control it in a better way, and all of that. I hope that all of this is going to help you understand the CPM. We will talk more about this kind of metrics into the recap chapter when we're going to set our columns.